Hello and welcome to my Blender to Unity Tower Defense game tutorial, and in this part we'll make our enemy objects explode. So let's get started. So if you haven't guessed already, the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to be using a particle system. You can use particle systems for all sorts of things, so let's do one today to create our explosion effect. So if we right click on the hierarchy and click particle system, one gets created for us. It's a very basic one with a sort of particle icon that's already been added, and we're going to need to make some adjustments to this, so let's get started with this now. Right, the first thing we need to do is change the emission type. The shape. We will need to change the emission as well. Let's change the shape over here just by clicking on it. You'll see that these little checkboxes enable, which means that it is a setting we can play with, and we want this shape actually to be a sphere. Okay, so now what's happening is it's emitting from all different angles now outwards. We'll set the radius to 0.5. Alright, so it's nice and small, and then we also want to set the rate to 0, so it's not emitting like that. We want to emit in a burst. So what we can do here is, if we just click, if you didn't do that already, just click on emission, and then under the burst section here, click on plus, and I believe we want something along the lines of 100 on 100. There we go. So it's doing. You can see that now as a burst. Obviously that's gone a bit too far. Kaboom. Okay. All right. So we can adjust how far this goes out and its speed by just going up to the main system up here. So let's set the duration to 2. Okay. We're going to set the lifetime to 1. What I'm going to do on the start speed, actually, I've got a speed here. I'm actually going to set this. If you just go over to the right hand side of start speed, there's a little option that says random between two constants. Okay, and I'm going to go for something like 0.75 and 1.25. Okay, this is good. And then the start size, I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set it between two values. So I'll say random between two constants, something like 0.75 and 1. Lovely. Okay, I think that's all the settings we need here. We've got the max particles to 1,000. Alright, it looks okay. It snaps off. It dies straight away, you'll notice there, and that's the way this particle's set up. So what we can do to make it look sort of fade out a little bit better is by changing this color over lifetime here. So if we just check that checkbox and click on color over lifetime, and then select it, and the top option is the alpha. So if I just click on these, you can see that's the alpha at the start and that's the alpha at the end, and I believe you can add extra ones if you want to. I don't know how you get rid of them. I think you just drag them to the left there, and that gets rid of them. There we go. So we want the alpha at the end to be 0. So if we just do that, I think now that will fade out. There we go. You can see that's fading out. Okay. Yes, I like that so far. Good. Right, but it's obviously just the white default icon, and the way you can make it look like a flame is by using a flame image. So let's get one of those, and we don't have to go out to the internet for this because Unity's already given us some images to work with. And if we just right click here onto the hierarchy and click onto the assets, and then right click import package particle systems. Alright, and I'll just bring up all of these different amazing particle systems that you can use. We're not going to use these. The only thing we're really interested in is one of the textures, and it is the particle fire cloud, this one here. Alright, you see that there, so we'll just select that. Okay, what I did a minute ago, by the way, I just click none, and I'm just going to select the particle fire cloud and click import. Alright, that shouldn't take long, and you can see now that it's popped it into this standard assets textures folder. You're welcome to bring in the other stuff and have a play around. It's great fun, by the way, and you should do that. This is our fire cloud, but we need to add a material, so let's just do that. Create material, and we'll call this fireball. And then if we just drag the fire cloud into the albedo and set the shader to particles additive. Alright. Now if we spin back to our particle system over here, at the very, very bottom there's this renderer. So let's just go to that, and under the material here, click on that and find our fireball. There it is. Can you see that there? Okay, so let's click on that. And now we're looking a whole lot better. For me, there's one thing. It seems to be. Is it high to me? Yes, it is high. It's not high. It's because there we go. I like the way that looks already. Oh, sorry, where did it go? Hang on, click on particle system. There we go. There's a few other tweaks I like to make. which includes size over lifetime. If we just click on that, we just change this here. It brings up this little curve tool. Alright, and you can just say, let's take it right down to the bottom. You'll see what happens. It disappears into these little dots. I don't like that very much, but I do like it to be somewhere so it gets a bit smaller. Somewhere in the middle, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Yes, that's fine. What else have I been changing? The colour over lifetime. The only other thing I want to change on that was the fact that you can change the colour to black, which is actually the background colour for this image. So if we just right click over here and then select a colour and make it black, just drag that down over there. Doesn't make a huge difference, but I think to me it makes a subtle difference. It just makes it fade out a little bit more. Okay, so we've got an explosion. I don't think that looks too bad at all. Possibly you might want to play around with the speed and make it disappear a bit quicker and run out a bit faster. I'll let you decide on that. Interestingly, the burst is worth having a little play with, just to see if you want it to be a little bit lighter. You can see these. Let's try 25. 25. You see, you can start to really. It's actually quite surprising how well this works, just with quite a small amount. The less you have, the less CPU it's going to take. Although this is actually pretty efficient, these particle systems, so don't worry too much about that for now. Alright, great, so we've got our particle system, actually, which I will now rename to Explosion. And I will also drag that explosion down to the prefabs. Alright, so we've got ourselves an explosion here now, alright? And we can delete this one from here. Now we just need to attach it to our enemy object so that they can call that particles explosion when it runs out of health. So let's just go over to our scripts folder. And you may recall that it's the enemy health manager. So let's just click on here. And I've already done this just to save time and confusion. When I type and probably get it wrong. I've added a reference to this public game object explosion prefab. Okay, in the enemy health project. So we'll have to drag that in there. And in the update method, you may remember that we put the if current health is 0. This wasn't here before. This line here, it just destroyed it. All right, but now we're going to say instantiate explosion prefab transform.position. Identity. That's a standard thing, by the way. I just leave that as it is. But the transform.position is obviously where the enemy is at that point in time. Great. So we've got those in there. If we just save that, I'd already added it, I think, but let's just save it again. Now, if we go over to our prefabs, Alien Disk and Alien Craft, they do have the health manager in there, but they are missing this explosion prefab that we've just created. So let's. Because it's in the same folder, it's going to be nice and easy. We'll just drag that over to Explosion Prefab for the Alien Craft. And if we click on Alien Disk, we also have to drag that in. Alright, so now they've got their explosions. Let's have a look and see how that goes. Click on here, click on play, full size. I think there's going to be at least one problem. I have a fair feeling I didn't switch looping off, which means it's going to keep on wrapping around. Let's find out. And it's going to explode it. Lovely, look at that. Yeah, I don't know if you notice, it's looping. So you're going to see these forever. It looks like, yeah, you can see they're occurring in the same place over and over again. All right, you'll see it be a bit more clear when you can see things are disappearing. There are explosions where they don't need to be, so we can very quickly fix that by clicking on explosion and turning off looping. Save that. Press play again. Slowly but surely they'll come on in. Here we go, and it aims. Health goes down. Boom! There we go. And boom! There, this is lovely. Yep. Couldn't quite get rid of that one. It's quite satisfying to watch these particle systems when you've got it right. You could, by all means, have a play with these, by the way. You may think that's too slow. To me, it does look a little bit slow, but I liked the sort of, the fact that it explodes into a big fireball rather than a big pop, which I know that one of the Unity tutorials does. Right, okay, good. Let's not dwell on that. The one thing I was going to show you as well is if I click play, I just unchecked maximize on play. When these do explode, although they loop around and they complete, you will see that they actually don't disappear. They stick around in the scene, and and that's because we're not destroying them. So you can see there's lots of these explosions getting created now. The alien discs are getting removed, but the explosions are sticking around. In fact, if we wait till the end, in fact, you can see them here. They're just hanging around. So it's just create a quick, simple script that we'll attach to this prefab that checks to see if it's finished, and if it has, just destroy that as well. And I've done that already. So if we go over to scripts here, I created this script called Particle Remover. And if we just have a quick look at that, it has a reference to the particle system. And in the start menu it says particle system game object dot get component particle system. So that's the particle system that's attached to this game object, which is the particle system. And then it does, in every update it says if not particle system dot is alive, destroy game object. All right, that's all that's doing. Nothing fancy. Now if we go back to Unity, close that down, and we go to our explosion in the prefabs. We'll probably have to lock this, so we'll click on lock. Alright, and we will then go to the scripts folder, click on particle remover and just drag that in. And now, can you see this? Here we go. It's just added. Sorry, it's there. There we go. So now, if we add this, or if we run this, I'm expecting these explosions to run and then disappear. Is alive is its way of saying, have I finished? Okay, and we can see that these explosions are disappearing. I hope. Yeah, there we go. So that, guys, is actually a very quick and very clean and efficient way to create an explosion in Unity. I'm impressed with how easy that was. I had to tweak these values for a long time before I got something that I was comfortable with, which is probably why you're thinking, wow, that was easy. But depending on what you want to do, these particle systems have all sorts of varying options to do all sorts of things. So by always have a play. I hope this has been useful. Please like, subscribe, comment if you've got any issues with this, and I will do my utmost to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.